Warm welcome, Moa and Susanne. It is very, very lovely to have you with us. And this will be very, very interesting because you are going to have a conversation between yourselves. So I am sure that all of us, we are going to take lots of benefit from your conversation, because I know both of you, and I know that this topic is very close to your hearts. And when we are speaking something which is really close to our hearts, it's really touching the hearts of others. So the topic today is the importance of self-care, and it's very, very important. That is the first step, to take care of the self. But why is it so difficult sometimes? Why is it that we think that we are selfish if we are taking care of ourselves? So what are the benefits that we are taking care of our minds first? Moa and Susanne will share you their secrets, and I will tell you a little bit of them so you get to know them also. Moa is working with children in a kindergarten where she uses her skills as a craft educator. And she loves music, to sing and play instruments. She also finds her peace in painting. Moa has been practicing meditation since 2003 and is active in Brahma Kumaris in Stockholm. And Susanne has been studying Raja Yoga since many years. She is working as a customer service team leader in a private company and has experience of guiding meditation at workplaces. Close to her heart is nature, solitude, and exploring the inner world in creative ways. So, on behalf of everyone who is participating today, warm, warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Ella, for that kind introduction. And hello, everybody. It feels very nice to be with you and to meet you. And both me and Moa has been in Finland many times. And even though we can't see you now, I'm sure we would recognize many faces. But like Ella was saying, it feels it's a very relevant topic and interesting topic to talk about. So I felt maybe more, we met earlier this week and we shared a bit around this topic, our different thoughts. So it would be nice to just hear a bit what you are feeling, the meaning of self-care, what that is for you, and if you would like to share a bit to start with.
First, I just like to say thank you for the introduction, and I'm also very happy to be here. It's a good opportunity to meet you. And about this topic, for me, I was thinking of two things in particular. And one of them was relationship, and the other is honesty. And when it comes to relationship, why that feels like such a key when it comes to have self-care is that I can see that I have since maybe I was a teenager and I was experiencing quite some difficult times. I felt that I had a lack of trust in relationships, and I was quite lonely. And I feel during the years I've been meditating, I've been working on myself, I've been spending a lot of time to trying to understand who is God. And it came to me a few years back that I was moving ahead when I felt it was kind of like I was surrendering some. I can tell you the thing was that I was experiencing some difficulties, and at that time I felt the help of friends, from my friends, and that made such a big difference to move along. And that made me think of relationships, how it's so important to take help and not think that I have to do everything on my own. It's me and it's the divine, but it's not like that. It's other people as well, and it's important to be what is it called? Yeah, like it should be we, not just me. It should be this communion, because we strengthen each other. And I can say a story about that. I met someone and he was a caretaker, and he told me that he himself had been actually in a very bad state when he was younger. He was an addict and he was homeless for some time also. And we discussed about taking care of yourself. And for me, I was thinking a lot, because I had some problems when I was younger with sleep. I wasn't sleeping. I had difficult in sleeping, getting enough sleep. And so I always thought that sleep, that's the number one. I need to take care of the practical basic things like sleep and eating. And then further down the line comes relationships. And then if someone needs medication, yes, that's also part of, depending on what you're going through. But this person said, I discovered that relationship is number one, to have a good relationship with yourself, relationship with others, and of course yourself, that's included in it. But that made me really think how important that is. The other thing I was thinking about honesty, and that's a lot to do with myself, the relationship with myself. I need to be honest with myself. And I feel that when you are practicing meditation, if you do it every day, then it's you can't escape being honest to yourself. You have to be that, because meditation is meeting yourself in silence. So you can maybe, for sometimes it's easy to escape that, but it comes back to, you have to meet yourself, and so that honesty develops. But for me also, I did this life story. I wrote big package. I'm not sure, but I've done a lot. But it was very good to write all the mistakes and everything I felt, even since I was very, very young. And that was very good, because I was seeing things in a true light. It's easy sometimes to exaggerate things or make things too small, but that made me see more clearly what I've been going through, and then also feeling more light afterwards. It was very good for me to do that. And I was hearing yesterday on a class about the true self-esteem, and then the person that was giving that class said that true self-esteem, it's being honest in relationships. So I really liked that, because I was thinking about honesty towards myself, but I also thought to be honest in relationships, it really requires that I am powerful and I'm not being a victim, because that was one of the things I also thought about that come from, that for me has been a big thing about honesty, and like really taking responsibility for what is my side of things, but also what others have to take their responsibilities. And that brings also a feeling of freedom, a very nice feeling of freedom. But when I heard this yesterday, I thought, yeah, it requires being powerful, because if I'm thinking too much about what others will think, then I will not have the courage really to be honest. But if I don't, I will suppress myself, and then maybe I will feel like a victim. But also how to be honest and not being blunt and hurt people. It requires a lot of silence also, and patience to wait for the right time to. But I feel that really is a big thing and big help. If I have a healthy relationship, a healthy heart that is light, because I speak out what I need to say, and it helps my mind to be more clean and clear. And so, Susanne, what are you thinking about this topic? What does it mean to you? And why is it important to think of myself first and self-care?
I think what comes to mind now, also hearing you sharing, is really this about connecting with myself. And I can, I think that's also something which is, it's something that we learn again and again, and with meditation and so on, it goes deeper with time. But I can see that to create wellness in myself and and to have a healthy and balanced and stable mind is really like one thing which has been important to me has been around connecting with my own feelings and emotions. And when I disconnect, or disconnect in the sense of suppressing or numbing it, or just don't know what to do with my own feelings, then I also disconnect from others in a way. But and that's why I feel it's so important to understand myself and to take that time to understand who I am and so on. And of course that, we all know that, who is on the path of doing inner work and spirituality and so on, that it's something that takes time. It's not a quick fix in any sense, but it's so interesting. And I feel like these years when I've been meditating, I have learned little by little and more to observe and be with my own feelings and accepting them and see them, and also defining what am I feeling, because sometimes there can just be this confused state of mind that something is going on, but you don't know what, or you don't understand. It's just a lot. Or you maybe just think of others or compare yourself with others, or are more extroverted in your mind, in a sense of taking in impressions from what others are doing or not. But really for me to create that space within me of solitude, where I can explore myself, and to do that in a very open and kind way. That's something which I feel is creating, it's really self-care. And of course it's not always so easy, and it can be easy to be distracted with different things, because sometimes things are painful, or sometimes it's just hard. But when I do take the time, and when I have that openness and curiosity towards myself of understanding, then it's so rewarding. And I can feel it in the sense of when I'm connected with myself, and when I take responsibility for my own thoughts and feelings and my actions, then it's like building a bridge to connecting with others too, and feeling close to others and understanding them. And it's of course it's a subtle thing, and when we talk about the mind and the wellness of the mind and so on, it's very subtle. But but like I felt it was so interesting what you were saying, Moa, about that we can feel and see in our relationships how, I mean, there is a connection there about how we take care of ourselves and how we relate and are in our relationships. So also, like when I am more accepting and open and compassionate with my own self, then it's easier to be that with others too. But it takes time, and it's like, I mean, in a way it's so easy to say these words, but then when something comes up or when we go through our different things in life, it's not always so easy to be in that. But I think it's something that we need to train ourselves in. And also, like what you were saying, when we have the company of others and can encourage both ourselves and each other, and when we hear experiences and examples of others too, then that is also encouraging to do that. But also, like another aspect which I feel is very important is just to have balance. And it can be in many different ways, everything from, I mean, like on the physical level with having enough sleep and eating good, I mean, nourishing food that creates stability, and moving, exercising and so on, like all these basic things that you were mentioning, but also like the balance of, I feel often in relation to my mind, like the balance of movement and stillness. And that's interesting to think about in terms of my inner world. And it, of course it connects. Like I often feel when I get a bit stuck in my mind, or if I can't let go of something, it often helps to go for a walk, or to just do some dancing, or to do some writing, but to do something which moves the energy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to play around with it and experiment with that. And I feel it has helped me a lot.
I want to comment on that, because in a way, yes, the physical needs to get sleep and enough food and all of that, the basics, but in a way it's not, because for many years for me it was very easy to neglect sleep, and it was very easy. I mean, I still feel I'm not getting enough sleep all the time, and that's something I want to work on. But this thing, I was thinking, oh, if I just meditate, then it will be fine. And I was sitting for maybe 2 hours and getting so heavy and depressed. But it's not like that. It's so important to, if you are, you know, you like to move, you like to go for walks or dance, and you feel that need to not suppress those things. And everything, like you said, balance, everything should have its own time. So it's not out of balance.
I like the image of a river, like when I think about the mind, and how water, I mean, if you see like spring water, and it's, I don't know this word in English, but when it's this beautiful sound in the spring when the water is moving, and that's the freshness and the clean water in that, that's like the sign for me of a healthy mind, or symbol. And then if the water gets stuck, it gets, you know, lots of things in it, and smelly and all of that. And that's like sometimes in the mind, when we get stuck on things, it needs to move, and sometimes it's just a little thing that can help to move on. And it's often about, I feel it's about shifting perspective, it's about making a choice, it's about just shifting focus, doing something else, or sometimes even consciously changing my thoughts. Like one aspect which I also feel is important is about, and that I have sometimes worked with, is also affirmations. And there was one period now, some time back, when I especially worked on the aspect of love in relation to myself. And I was many times holding this thought, I am valuable and I am lovable. And it's a very simple statement, but it's very deep. And when you hold it and when you meditate it, and I did it both when I was meditating, but also sometimes when I just walked to the bus, or there was one day when I sat in the subway and it was very crammed and lots of people, and I felt like, oh, there's no space, and I don't really like that. But this day I was just practicing holding this thought of I am lovable and I am valuable. And so that energy, because I had been doing it for some days, it had some effect which just came out. And I started to feel that everybody was love. And I just felt there was more space suddenly. I mean, physically it wasn't, but in my mind and heart suddenly it was. Mm. And I could just feel that energy and connectedness, and something was shifting. And I guess this experience was just showing me the power of shifting focus and the power of holding positive thoughts about ourselves, how that can make a difference really. Because I mean, our minds are powerful. If we think negative or positive, it's very powerful and it has an impact. But I think also to really work with ourselves. And one other thing that can be helpful sometimes is like to actually write down, if I notice negative thoughts, to write them down and exchanging them, consciously rewriting it, and working with myself in that way. It's one tool that I have found very useful.
I can share a little about the tools that I been experiencing, that especially this summer I decided when I was out in the countryside that I'm going to paint every day, and I'm going to bring my flute and I'm just going to take it up and play. I'm not going to have any rules that now I have to play this piece and it has to go from the beginning, it has to be like this, I have to count, but I just take it up just for some time. And it was really good for me because it's a bit different from what I normally do. I'm more into classical training and I'm a bit stiff when it comes to now I should play this, or even painting. No, it should be in a different way, but allow myself to paint a little bit every day, nothing, no expectations in it. And it was such a nice energy coming.
I think that's what you're saying. What comes to me is I think because the mind, it's often about creativity and associations and images and feeling. It's all like flowing, and I feel also to have this playfulness. I'm also kind of redoing myself in a way, but being like this, what you were saying, like this strict, or when we meditate, sometimes there can be this image that one should be so perfect and kind of, orderly with everything. But really to have the balance or the element of also playfulness and spontaneity and this lightness, it's really important. Yeah. And of course we need also the structure and the format of things. That's also equally important, and it has its place. But sometimes that can dominate to allow oneself to just, have fun definitely. And be light and creative in that sense.
I saw this video the other day because I was attending a course, and on this course it was for my workplace, and then there was this psychologist that are teaching about kids that have different diagnoses like autism and HD, AD, and they were showing a video, and that says so much about how we like to play. And it was this staircase in a subway station called Odenplan here in Stockholm. And they made this experiment because people were choosing, when you go up from the subway, you can choose the stairs or you can choose the elevator. And almost everyone was choosing the elevator. What is it called? The rulltrappa.
Yeah,
escalator, yeah. Or the stairs. So they were choosing the escalator and some were choosing the stairs. And it was during the winter time, I think. It's dark and everyone had a lot of clothes. And then they painted the staircases like a piano. And then they put some sounds. So when people were walking, it were giving these different sounds. And it was so sweet to see afterwards when people were choosing the stairs instead, and they were walking and they were going up and down. So many were choosing the stairs. And that's so, I mean, when it's two things are too heavy and too serious, we're not like that. We all have this playfulness inside, and it has to be like that. And we have to create it for ourselves.
Definitely. There's one more thing I also wanted to mention, and maybe that's more like with the structure part of things, but actually I also feel in relation to a healthy mind, it's so important to feel the right to set boundaries and to say no. I mean, to say both yes and no, but to really see, like, because sometimes it can be easy to feel that we need to be so pleasing and adaptable and saying yes to everything in order to be accepted and to be part of things and so on. But to really, I mean, know my boundaries, and of course that's different for everybody because we're all individual and we function differently, but we need maybe different things depending on what our lives looks like and so on. But to feel the right to set boundaries, and I can see, like, especially from the last year when I have a new job since some time back, and it's more demanding and a bit more intense than before. It's also more like interesting, but it's I'm working in this customer service department, and it can be very like hectic and stressful some days. And then it's easy to have that in my mind of the intensity of all of that. And but then to really allow myself to just say, no, stop, now it's enough. I can take a pause. I need to go inside, just put everything else aside. It's not, I mean, nothing is too critical in a way, but to really prioritize and see what, in the long run, what do I need to sustain in my everyday to feel good and to feel connected to myself. And then I'm thinking about it as setting boundaries, because it's so easy that all the activities, and especially in a workplace, that is just sometimes runs over you in a way. And but to feel the right to take a pause and to stop and to go inside and to nourish that calmness and peacefulness inside. And even though if maybe nobody else around you do it, but then to still feel the right to go aside and to take a pause and nourish that peace inside. It's I feel it's more and more important, and to also support myself in doing that, because it's easy sometimes to kind of think, I mean, the day goes along and so on, but really I like to think what helps me in the long run and what will support me not just today but also in the future, the choices I make today. So and then every time we take that time, we strengthen that good habit, and then it's easier to sustain that and to feel a right to continue it. I see that the time is flying. We actually wanted to also give all of you a chance for some self-reflection, and maybe it's a good time to do it now. So I will share an image with 2 questions, and then we just invite all of you to either to write or just to sit and hold these questions for yourself for the next maybe 3-4 minutes, and see what comes to you, and what does self-care mean to you, and why is it important to you? How do you take care of yourself? So I will share my screen. Yes, so what does self-care mean to me? And how do I take care of myself? So you're all invited to reflect on that for the next 3-4 minutes.
Thank you, Moa and Susanne. It was really interesting conversation, and many questions came into my mind, but it would be lovely to hear the questions from others. We have one question, but feel free to write your questions to the chat box, either in Finnish or English. But we can start with this one question. And this one question is about what Moa spoke about, writing your life story. You know, for some of us, it can be really challenging to write your own life story, because you become so identified based on that story. And then, it can be really challenging to go through really everything. So do you know, the question was that, so did you already meditate when you started to write the life story? So has meditation helped you in that? And maybe if you like to share something more about this life story.
I did. I've been meditating since 18 years. Is it 18? 2003. So this life story I did, was it maybe 3 years ago? And I had did similar things before, but I felt this should be really, it should be everything actually. So then it should take its time. And just like you said, it is difficult. And sometimes I cried, and sometimes I was angry, and sometimes I didn't want to see exactly what was happening. And then also when you look back, I know you can, it's not always easy. They say in psychology, you can sometimes create, some memories you're not really sure what, but at least I was doing my best, to be honest. And it took a long time. I don't remember if it took a few months at least, because I was thinking first that this I will do in a few evenings, and then, but as I started to writing, it was more and more, because it's not just this happened and then, I did, but all the emotions and all the why it happened, and or when someone did something to me, and the circumstances and everything. But for me, it was good to go through, and it was a nice thing to do, just me, and I feel just me and the divine. It feels like it was, I felt I can be totally open, and if anyone is listening, it should be, and this is nothing I want to share with anyone. No one should ever read this. So then I felt much more encouraged to really go through. And some things I felt maybe I should, previously I felt ashamed about things, but I was writing them just exactly as I remembered it, and the feeling I was, if it was ugly feelings, it doesn't matter. It just, I was doing it. And it was a good feeling of acceptance in that it's okay in a way.
So thank you. So it helped you to accept whatever has happened.
Yeah.
The main benefit?
Yeah, acceptance. Yeah, and I saw how meditation helped. That meditations, it always helps. Anything I feel that I go through, because like I said in the beginning, when I'm about honesty, and relationship with myself, I have to face myself in meditation. So even though sometimes I've been a bit heavy, or something I've been going through and feeling sad, I feel, sometimes meditation, it can be very good. It can be easy to connect to myself, and I can feel the silence, and I can go deeper. Sometimes when if I sit half an hour, it can be a lot of other thoughts, but at least I sit. And then afterward, it's never a waste to meditate. It's always giving something. So it is helping, if that was clear enough.
Yes, it was very clear. Thank you. Thank you, Moa. And then question to Susanne. You spoke about balance, how important it is. Food, exercise, sleep, and mind. So basically, we kind of know it, and we know how important it is. But what do you think? Why self-care can be so difficult topic? And how can we overcome it and make it easy?
I mean, I guess it's because we all have our habits, and I mean, the patterns of different programmings that would just, come in the way, and so on. And also one aspect is, we can't do everything at the same time. It's like, because it's not about being good. I mean, in that sense, if you understand me right, it's like, it's not to create, it's not about creating an image or being good or like, I mean, it's really about doing it genuinely for my own self. And so I know that for my, I mean, in my own experience, that if I try to do too many things at the same time, it often becomes none of them. So it's better to focus on one thing and do that. And then after other things follow. So because then it's like you have one thing that you focus on. If it is just to, I mean, if it's just about the meditation, just, okay, every day I will meditate, or if it's about going early to bed so that I'm fresh the next morning, but to choose one thing, or if it is about like going for a walk and then doing that, whatever you decide, daily or some days a week, but really to have that kindness. I mean, to practice that, to have that kindness, and to make it light and easy, and to, I mean, sometimes it's also, I guess, it's, I mean, to make things nice for you, but sometimes it's actually maybe not fun, but you just have to do it anyway because it's good. and I guess that's the part, I mean, this this part within us that is rebelling and don't want to agree with things and want to, I mean, do something else all the time, and all these emotions connected with it of postponing and feeling upset or don't wanting to be controlled or whatever, and or fear of failure. I mean, there can be so many different aspects, but I guess both the conversation with myself, that I know, like, why, to asking myself questions and talk to myself, like if I don't want to do something but I know it's good for me, but just to have like a conversation with myself around it, so that I can understand what is the root, why this is not working or why it's difficult. And then to accept that and see, okay, but can I agree with myself in some kind of a way that I will still do it because I need to do it? And then I guess it's that part within me, which is the wise self, or the more mature self, that needs to be in charge. And I need to nourish both that and accepting my emotions and feelings and all of this. But there has to be this like adult part in me which take charge and say, yes, now we're going to bed and that's it, or yes, now we go out for a walk or whatever. And then I mean, if we want to, I guess it's about like training myself to just create good habits too. But for me, it helps to I mean, just the motivation of why it's good for me in the long run. Maybe I don't always feel like it in the moment, but I know, and I have experienced many times, when I keep up a practice and stick to it, the benefit of that and how we become strong when we do it. And I can't always let my feelings decide. So it's a balance there, and yeah. Oh.
Thank you. And before we go to meditation with Susanne, would Moa like to add something?
Yeah, maybe I was thinking when you got this question now, I don't know how, so I don't get too long in this, but I was thinking, for me, like why it's not so easy with the self-care all the time. I felt it's because I've been having so much focus on others, and that others, like this victim feeling, others should be nice to me, others should give me what I need, or hoping for that. And the more I've been taking responsibility back to myself, then it's so much easier to feel that I want to be responsible because it makes me powerful and I want to create my life. I don't want to beg from others, and of course have a good expectation. I mean, hoping for the best, but not being dependent on others. So like when I have this responsibility myself, then I get motivated to do good for myself.
Thank you.
And just one little last thing. I also think it's important to not just think about things, but actually to do it, because I don't know about you, but for me, when I do something good for myself, it so many times it just creates a feeling of happiness from inside. And that for me is a sign that this is right. And it gives like that, what you were also saying, more that empowerment of feeling of self-respect, that it's like my whole self just say, yes, this was right, this was good. So to be open to that and to receive that. So to know the signs. And then of course, when that comes, we want to do more of that. So yeah.
So now we are very, very happy to receive guided meditation and experience some inner peace and happiness maybe. I don't know what is coming, but please, you can start, Susanne, whenever you feel like it.
So first of all, just make yourself sit in a comfortable way so that you can relax your body. And for the next moment, put everything else aside. And consciously create the space right now for a moment of stillness within yourself. And take your time. There is no need to rush and nowhere to go right now. But allow yourself to let go for some time and really become present here and now with yourself. Appreciate this moment. This moment is a gift. And take a few deep breaths and feel how you continue to relax and become still. Feel how everything else is disappearing for a while. It's just you in this moment, in the stillness, the beauty of the stillness. And then begin to look inside. Feel how you withdraw more inside. And you can imagine that you have like a space of silence within you. And that space is inviting and warm. It's comfortable. It's your own space where you are safe. And where you can completely let go and relax. And in this space of silence, you are invited to connect with yourself. Not just with your everyday self, but with the deeper self, with your spiritual self. You can imagine it like a light, like a star of light that is shining brightly. You connect in your own way, just holding this space of silence gently. And then ask yourself, what is important to me right now? What is important in my life right now? Just hold this question and see what comes to the surface. Maybe your heart wants to say something. Maybe something comes up that you had forgotten about, that is important to you, to feel good. And even if maybe something don't come up, that's also okay. You can just enjoy the stillness. And something might come to you later in the evening or tomorrow. Also just feel how in this space of silence you are not alone. The Supreme, the Divine is also there with its silent presence, accepting love, compassion. And feel how you are embraced, loved, taken care of. And then it's time to come back again. Om Shanti.
Thank you. It was really soothing and calming. And it's always a good idea to tap into your inner silence. And thank you for both of you. I really truly appreciate that both of you spoke from your own experience. You spoke from your heart. And that's always the best way to teach others. When we are sharing something, what we feel important, what we have experienced ourselves, then others can also feel like that, oh, that is not just theory, what they are speaking, but they are speaking from their own experience. And this is something what we got from your conversation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we have some practical tools. I am sure every one of us found something for the self.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah. And thank you for the opportunity. And it's also so nice just to meet in this way and feel that we have so many things in common too, and to share and to be on this journey together.
Yes, and I am sure we are going to see you, both of you, physically also in Finland at some point. So welcome